Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Okay, it is the 1st of July and the project that we're embarking on is Junk Journal January. Now the program has been created by Meg at Megs Journals, hashtag Junk Journal July. So the first prompt for the first day of July is begin. And isn't that a challenge? It's like my head is spinning with hundreds of ideas. I don't know what direction I'm heading in, and it's actually a fantastic prompt because I just need to begin. Now, as I explained in my introduction to this series, I have a journal that never came to be because the cruise to Japan never came to be due to the dreaded COVID. So it's actually ironic as well that I'm actually have COVID for the first time now. I'm actually on the last stages of it. It's been with me for a week or so and it is just slowly disappearing out of my body. Thankfully, I've been blessed with that. So this journal didn't happen. Holiday of a lifetime from Brisbane to Japan on one of the big canard cruise liners. And then a big trip around Japan itself. So in the process of pulling this journal back down, because I didn't use it, I used the cover for something else and I was left with all these stitched pages ready to go to create signatures. Leftover paper from the pack, which is a Stamperia Oriental Garden pack. Lots of scraps, which were packed in a bit of an ephemera folder for myself that I could use on the ship as we sort of cruised around. So it's not like I don't have plenty of elements. I've also been collecting for some time fabrics that are Japanese inspired for boro stitching and some other different Japanese style of stitching, which I really want to explore. So I've gone through those packs that I've purchased and just picked out one or two pieces. It was like so overwhelming looking at these piles of fabric that I just had to slow it down and grab some pieces that sort of suited the colour scheme. So I've just got some neutrals, some Japanese prints, and also some dyed fabrics as well. So where they appear and how they appear, who knows? And then a couple things from my stash, a brown suede-y, chenille type fabric. It's not suede, it's like a chenille fabric, and also some denim, and then the neutrals. Now, in addition to those colours, I really needed some red to pull it all together. So I went to my stash and I found these two reds. Now, technically, they're not Japanese inspired because they're roses. Having said that, when I look through this paper, there's a lot of unusual flowers and a very, what's the word for it? Artistically inspired cherry blossoms, and some look like carnations, but they're probably not. They're probably Japanese flowers, and if I'd got to the country to have a look around, I probably would have worked out what they all were, but one day. But for now, I have a little bit of red. I think I'm going to need a pop of red through the journal. As I also said in my introduction, I don't know what the cover's going to look like. I don't know what the internal pages are going to look like. I don't even know how the structure of the journal itself is going to look like. Is it going to be accordion? Is it going to be predominantly fabric, which is to hint of these papers? Or are these papers going to feature and the textiles will just be the hint through them? I'm just not sure. So to begin, which is the prompt, I've just been gathering more bits and pieces to try and inspire myself. The other thing I found was I have this rice paper from Stamperia as well, which was also ready for the epic journey to Japan. So we've got a little bit of rice paper, so we can certainly make some bits and pieces for the journal. So I think it's going to be, like, I'm trying to begin here, and if you could see my face, I'm like literally rubbing my eyes, thinking a million thoughts. I think I'm going to make ephemera. I'm going to make page embellishments. I'm going to make actual journal pages, random bits and pieces. I think. So let's begin. Let's see where it takes us. So I'm going to always have these images of these pages nearby as a bit of inspiration. Whether they get used or not is another thing. But I'm just going to have them to one side. I'm going to have my fabrics to one side. Rice papers just nearby. I've also got some brown paper, which is from my grandmother's sewing room. She's no longer with us. And this is what she used to use to draft patterns. So I've got a bit of that. And, of course, some inspiration in the book, the paper pad. Now, I was looking through the front here, and there is all sorts of quotes and wise words and wise saying. So I've had a really good read through it. And there's nothing really jumping out at me yet. Maybe they will match a prompt in the future, but I must say the word begin doesn't really do anything for me. The only thing I will say that has popped into my brain while I've been sitting here is this dragonfly. It's sort of throughout the whole paper pack, there is again. So I have a feeling that dragonflies are culturally probably connected to Japan, because they're right through this and they just look beautiful. Now, for those of you that know me, I have made some dragonflies in the past. See, there they are again. So I went to my box of snippets and I pulled out one of my dragonflies that I made in a previous video, and I think this is where I'm going to begin because it's familiar and it might help me sort of bring something together. So I grabbed some calico. Always start with a base. Start with something that's familiar. Now I'm just going to grab one of these stitched, because all these pages have been stitched around. I'm going to grab this page and I'm just going to rip this fabric down to the size of this page, give or take a little bit. And that's going to be my base. Okay, so whether this ends up on a page within or on the cover, who knows? As I said, I just need to begin. Now, how does my dragonfly fit on there? Okay, he does. Okay, that's something. Okay, I think I need him to sit on something. Maybe a pop of colour, or... This is not as easy as you think. It's like quite a challenge. So I'm just going to cut some snippets off and just start layering them down and see what comes of it. I need a bit of red. I don't want to get crazy with the stitching because I've got so many projects on the go at the moment, and we've got the big Christmas project coming up with the Roxy girls, and there'll be a lot of stitching in that. So I want this just to be quick, simple elements, and then as the month of July sort of evolves, we can sort of see where it leads us. Okay. Okay, now, a bit of this paper I've got here. Maybe there's a snippet of that could go in there. I can hear my pussycat. That's Fudge. He's just had his supper and obviously it's not enough. I'm liking that so far. What else? Let me go back to those little words at the beginning here and see if there's something. Joy, love, earth laughs in flowers. Oh, I don't mind that. Okay, I have spotted something. Earth laughs in flowers. Let's just cut this out. I've only got my fabric scissors. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to put them away before I get myself into trouble with myself. I I don't think that one's going to fit. I've just spotted a smaller one up here. What I might do off camera when I get a moment is I might cut all these little elements out, because I'm sure they'll be quite helpful in the future as I sort of create bits and pieces for the journal. And maybe something will come of them all. So let's have a little look at this piece. I might just ink around the edge to get rid of any white that I can see. I want to do a little bit of hand sewing, but I also want to bring in some machine sewing just for time, because like I said, I've got so many projects going at the moment that take hours and hours. If anyone's doing the slow stitch Roxy Creations Journal of Stitchery, you'll appreciate just how many hours go into doing those types of projects. And I'm wondering, yeah, I like that. Okay, the other thing I want to do is I want to rough up the edge of it, I think. One of these little scissors will do the trick. Just want to make it look a little bit distressed. Yeah, liking that. Yep. I did just scratched off all of the inking I just did, but that's okay. There's still inking in amongst it, but I do like that sort of finish. Yep, I'm liking that. Okay, I feel like I need something more fibrous. So I'm just going to hop up for a second and grab some cheesecloth, which I can see. Yep, here's some cheesecloth. So I'm just going to snip a little piece of that off. And I'm going to put that underneath the saying. Then I got my drink. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I am. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump on the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch it all down. I will need to use a little bit of needle and thread, I believe, to hold my dragonfly in place. But I just want to get some crazy stitching around to tie in the stitching that's already on these pieces of paper, so that this piece will be all attached and can be added to the journal. So that's my composition. Short and sweet. I will stop the video and jump on the sewing machine and just sort of add a little bit more detail to it, and I'll be back in a moment. See you soon. Okay, I'm back and I've gone around the outer edge with my sewing machine and stitched it in brown cotton. I used a glue stick just to glue down that fabric. I was going to stitch around that as well, but I decided to get some white cotton and just do some running stitch up this one side, some big stitches. So I'm just doing that next, just to add a little extra detail to it. And I think this white cotton will appear throughout the project, because it's a bit of a thing in Japan, is all these embroideries using the white thread on blue, which is just spectacular. So I might do a little bit of that too. I'll have to do a bit of research and watch some YouTube videos, because it's a real talent to do that. So I just wanted to look into that world as well. All right, so I've just put a line there. I'll just finish that off with a knot. Who knows what this little piece will be used for, but it's made. It's prompt 1. It's to begin, which we have begun. So that's the collaging done. Now I do have to attach now my butterfly, not butterfly, my dragonfly. So I'll just change my needle over to just a standard thread and stitch him down with a few stitches. Thread my needle. Might have to pop a couple pins in too, just to hold the body of him in position. So I wonder what this journal will look like in the end. It's nothing better than starting a new project, especially a project where you don't know where it's going to take you. So it'd be good to look back on these very first few videos of the month and just sort of see what happens, what evolves, whether it be a fabric style journal with a little bit of paper or predominantly paper. I just don't know. But the rules are these colours, this theme, following the prompts from Meg. And hopefully I can keep up with a video a day for you. I'll try and keep them a little shorter than usual. But, you know, who knows? Some days I feel like just doing something more complex, I will. If other days it might be just something small like snippets for pages or something like that. Who knows? Really not sure where it'll take us. And in this time, we've got a month to think about what the journal will look like. So I've been going back through some old videos of Meg's just to get a bit of a feel of different styles of journals that she's made in previous sessions. So really, we're not going to be very limited only by our imagination, I think. I'm sort of thinking along the lines of an accordion style journal. I haven't made anything like that, and I think she did one in January. That just looks so effective. Of course, it was all paper, so I have to be mindful that mine will get quite chunky and quite big quickly if it's going to be all fabrics and little stitcheries and things like that. But I don't know, maybe it will be a lot more paper than I'm thinking. Who knows? No pressure. I'm not going to think that far ahead. I'm just going to make lots of elements or lots of ephemera that can go into this project at the end. I've lost my thread out of my needle. Okay. So what's tomorrow's prompt? Reinvent. Well, I am reinventing this whole journal. It was something that never happened, so we're reinventing it. So that prompt really fits, doesn't it? I have to think about what I can do for that. So my dragonfly, who features throughout the paper, is now stitched into position. It's going to be fun going through my craft room and finding different elements that I've got squirreled away and seeing if they sort of suit the theme. That's why I like creating a theme for myself. Otherwise, it just gets out of control. And if anything, I get a little bit overwhelmed by the project because there's just too much to consider when there's an open scope. So I do like to lock myself into a colour scheme and also a theme of papers or fabrics. And that way you're guaranteed it'll look complete, or what's a better word? It'll look like it's got some connection to itself. Otherwise you can have quite a hodgepodge of arrangements. You'll notice, I think in the videos that Meg has for January's prompts, she actually went back through her whole journal and started smattering coffee through, because coffee sort of was being drizzled on pages throughout the end or the middle of the month. So when she started flipping back to, say, the first 5 days or so, she noticed that it just didn't connect as well. And she just started drizzling around some coffee, and it sort of pulled it all together. And that's sort of what I sort of mean when I say I pick a theme or a colour scheme or a colour palette. I know some of the other junk journalists, before they start this project, they'll actually paint themselves a colour palette of all of the colours that they want to use, and they'll have it just sitting to one side. So if they start going off on a tangent, they just refer back to that colour scheme, which I think is a great idea too. Because I don't know about you guys, but creative minds, we tend to be all over the place at times. We're a little bit, what's a good word? Well, I can hear my dad saying a scatterbrain, and I think he's right, because there's just a million thoughts going through a creative mind. My husband's very analytical in his thinking. He's very, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where I'm more 5, 2, I better do 1, back to 3, and don't forget to do 4. We both end up in the same spot at the end of the, it's got to be stitched yet, at the end of the task. But he is just, steps, procedure. If we have a product manual or a car manual or just a manual, he will be the one that'll sit and read it. And I won't. I'll just jump in to the car, start pushing buttons and hope for the best. When things don't quite work out, then I might grab the manual and flip to the page I need. But there'll be so much that, I will miss, but eventually we'll get. I don't know, that's just the way my brain thinks. Oh, I keep dropping the thread. Just love these colours. This red and navy and the cream. Beautiful. Okay. I think my butterfly is tacked. Not butterfly. It's a dragonfly. Can't you tell I'm still under the influence of COVID? Okay, I snip that off. Thank you for all the well wishes to everyone wishing me all the best with my COVID. I'm doing well, and I do appreciate all those kind comments and those prayers. Lovely. Thank you very much. Okay, I think that is it. That is, let me slide that up a little bit. We have begun. So I'll just bring that up to the camera a little bit closer so you can see just the simple elements that went into it. Okay, so if you did want to know how I made the dragonfly, there's a video or a playlist called Scrappy Items. I'll link that below so you can sort of have a look at my theory and my process to make him. The Stamperia Paper, I haven't yet had a chance to see if this is still available out there. I'm just not sure, so I'll have a bit of a look around. And that goes for the rice paper too. I will need to do a little bit of research to make sure that these pieces are out there if any of you want to do a project sort of similar. These fabrics I got from someone in Australia. I'll link them below. And also these two, they've been in my stash for ages. They're just some reds I had kicking around. Who knows where they've come from. Okay, that's it. I will leave the video at that, and I will see you all tomorrow for the next prompt, which is reinvent. Okay, see you all soon. Bye.